Hey everyone, so today I'm going to be talking about something extremely important, something that has been going on for probably centuries now, something that definitely needs a big change to, something needs to be done, something needs to be stopped. So today I'm going to talk about racism and why Black Lives Matter is so important and why it's so prominent in today's media, why it's literally everywhere at the moment, just like it should be. So I have wrote down some notes and everything, just to keep me on track because this is such an important subject. This is so important that I don't want to lose track of everything. Um, and I'm also going to put down some petitions down in the description so you guys can link them up to people, share them to everyone, sign them, and get justice for people that deserve it, people that need it. So I'm going to start off by explaining basically what Black Lives Matter is, and we'll go on from there. So Black Lives Matter was originally founded in 2013. This was in response to the murder of Trayvon Martin. So I'm not entirely sure the whole story, should I say, about that. But I remember back then when that happened, I was still in high school, and it felt like I was the only one aware of it. It felt like I was the only one that knew about it, and in fact, it did get brought up once in one of the English lessons. So it got founded in 2013, and it is a global organization that is in the US, UK, and Canada. And their mission is to basically like eradicate white supremacy. They want to get like basically they want to be equal. Like everyone should be equal. They want to, like I say, eradicate white power, build like local power to intervene in violence. Um, they want to stop all these black communities getting violence thrown at them from the state and random vigilantes, which is extremely unfortunate. Um, but yeah, so a big thing what they want to do is that their like newest like thing that I found up on their website, which I will also put down the link to that in the description, and I believe you can donate through that as well. So they want to focus on a What Matters 2020. And for them, they want to focus on issues concerning racial injustice, police brutality, criminal injustice, black immigration, economic injustice, LGBTQIA+, and human rights, environmental injustice, um, access to healthcare, access to quality education, and rights and suppression. So they're also working towards a world where Black lives are no longer systematically targeted for demise. And this literally does not mean that your white life doesn't matter. This doesn't mean that your this doesn't mean that your white life doesn't matter as much as theirs. Because we don't experience racism, because we don't go outside every day and basically fear for our lives of being shot by the police or being shot by a random person. We don't experience this kind of fear. We don't experience the fact that our families, our friends could be gone in a matter of moments because of the color of our skin. We don't experience this. We will never experience this because white people have such a white people are so lucky. We can literally do everything and anything we want to, more or less without any backlash. We could do so much and not really get anything from it. And this is what the Black Lives Matter movement is about, is basically getting equality for every person, not just for white people. And this whole all lives matter thing that I keep see trending sometimes on my social medias, it's disgusting. it's just stupid. It's just wrong. Like I'm gonna say probably throughout this whole video, that is not what Black Lives Matter is standing for. That is not what Black Lives Matter means. It's literally to get justice, equality for every single person out there, regardless of your race, gender, religion, just anything that puts you in a different group. It's literally to get equality. And now I'm going to talk about like two specific people that have been in the media a lot. And it's very unfortunate what happened to them. It's very disgusting. So I'm going to talk about Breonna Taylor first. Just a little bit about her. So she was an award-winning EMT and a model citizen. She worked in the emergency department. She loved her family, and her community. She was working at 2 hospitals, and she was classed as an essential worker during the crazy coronavirus pandemic. And she was only 26 years old, and she got shot 8 times by the police. So what happened was that basically the police had decided to perform an illegal and unannounced drug raid on her home. So officers Jonathan Mattingly, Brett Hankison, and Miles Cosgrove, they basically bust into her home. No reason for it. They just did. They didn't even announce that they were there or anything like that. From what I kind of understand, the police tend to like knock on the door kind of thing, saying, "Oh, like this is the police, open up," that kind of thing. But yeah, this just didn't happen this time. And they just literally ran down her door. They fired 22 shots altogether, and 8 of them had been towards Breonna, which unfortunately killed her. But the big thing here is the fact that the house that they were originally looking for was like around 10 miles away from hers, and the person that they were looking for, he'd already been arrested. That person was already arrested. So it's kind of like, what? And as far as I know, the police have not been charged with this. This happened around 4 months ago now, and yet still nothing has been done. As far as I'm aware, they are free. They're still in the force and everything like that, which is extremely unfortunate. Because as far as I'm aware, as far as I've found out, Breonna was a wonderful person. Everyone around her had amazing words to say about her. And the fact that she was an EMT working at 2 hospitals during this pandemic just kind of shows you like the dedication that she has to her job. And I'm going to say this for every essential worker that has been out there, that has been non-stop working throughout this entire time, that has been non-stop. They've always been there. They've been on the front line. They've worked crazy hard. They've not stopped. I'm aware of that the NHS workers, they haven't had a pay rise or anything like that when they definitely deserve it. They've hardly had any PPE. A lot of the time they've had to use bin bags, random bags that they can to try and protect themselves as best as they can. And it's just disgusting, really. But that's another subject that we could talk about. So like I say, as far as I'm aware, the police officers have not been arrested. They're still free. They're still doing whatever they please, kind of thing, which is very, very, very unfortunate. So now I'm going to talk about George Floyd, which was kind of like, I'm going to say like the tip of the iceberg to everything. He was the person that kind of sparked up the whole Black Lives Matter thing again. Like I say, it was originally founded in 2013. But then in 2020, it kind of like got brought back up again in the media and everything, because of George Floyd, which is very unfortunate. When I did learn of this, it was very upsetting. The whole thing, the video that is out there as well is very upsetting. I'm not going to post a link or anything like that to the video. Because like I say, it's very upsetting, it's very sad to see. And from what I've read, from what I've seen, George is such an amazing person. He was a father. He was a great family man kind of thing. So I'm not going to post that video because I believe he's so much more as a person than what happened to him there. But saying that, so his thing is that so George was murdered by the police. Again, another story of that. There's so many people out there. There's so many people that have been murdered by the police that haven't had any injustice. And like I say, George is literally the tip of the iceberg. So it originally started off that George was handcuffed and restrained. But he was being cooperative the entire time. He was doing exactly what the officers said, exactly what the officers wanted. And as far as I'm aware, this was over a potential counterfeit $20 bill. I'm not entirely sure on that. I could be wrong, but I believe that's what the whole like misunderstanding was at the beginning. And he was being completely cooperative. And the officers had put him to the ground. So he was like cuffed behind his back. There was, I think, 3 or 4 officers in total, and one of them was kneeling on George's neck. And now, as far as I'm aware, I mean, I'm not a police officer. I have no intention of being one. But if you're a police officer that is supposed to protect the community, protect people, I think the last thing to do on a person that has no kind of like no weapon on him or anything like that, poses no threat. My first instinct would never to be to kneel on someone. I would never think that that's in my job. And the fact that you go through years and years of training, and the first thing that you think to do on a person is kneel on them, poses an issue within itself. So I think the total time was around 8.5 minutes or 9 minutes, that the officer was now on George's neck. And throughout this entire time, he was crying. He was like screaming for help for his mother and everything like that. He was crying. He couldn't breathe. He repeated over and over and over again that he couldn't breathe. He couldn't breathe, but yet the officers ignored bystanders telling the officers to get off of him, that the bystanders were begging the officers to let go, to stop, and the officers didn't listen. They kind of didn't care, as far as I'm aware. They just didn't care. They saw George as a threat, even though he clearly wasn't. And throughout this, like I say, the 9 minutes, 8.5 minutes, throughout that entire time, he couldn't breathe. He was basically choking to death. He was getting no oxygen, no nothing. So unfortunately, he died because of this. Even though, like I say, the bystanders, they were begging the officers to stop, to get off him, which is very unfortunate because he passed away. And as far as I'm aware, I think the officers have been prosecuted, but I'm not sure. I think they are. I'm not sure if 2 of them have or if all of them have. Let me just go through my notes and I see if I can find it. Okay, so on May the 29th, this is an update. On May the 29th, I believe one of the officers were arrested. He was arrested and charged with second-degree murder, third-degree murder, and manslaughter. The other 3 officers were charged with aiding and abetting second-degree murder, aiding and abetting third-degree murder, and aiding and abetting manslaughter. But the fight for him still continues. The fight for his justice still continues. And like I say, for both Brianna and George, I will put in the comments, not the comments, in the description, some petitions for you guys to sign. And so I really want to talk about those 2 mainly because they've been brought up a lot in the media. But like I say, there's so many more people out there that have unfortunately lost their lives due to the colour of their skin. And what brings down to it is just blatant racism. And I think that really needs to change. There's a huge thing that needs to change. And the protests that have been happening throughout various places, various countries, cities, is a very important thing. And the reason why they're protesting is to get equalities, to get justice. It's just as simple as that. And a mass majority of these protests have been peaceful. They've been social distancing, they've been wearing a mask, they've been doing everything that they should do. They've been keeping either 2 meters or over apart from each other. They've then been quarantining for 2 weeks afterwards as well. And they've been doing everything they should. But unfortunately, good old media have decided that they're not going to show these, and they're only going to show the worst parts of it. So they're going to show the protests that have gotten into more of a riot state. They aren't showing, but they aren't showing the fact that the police are randomly showing up at these peaceful protests and shooting tear gas towards the protesters who could just be sat there in silence doing nothing, and the police are shooting tear gas at them. They're shooting rubber bullets, and the rubber bullets, from what I've seen, are like at least 5 times bigger than a regular bullet. I think they're about this long, maybe longer, and roughly this thick. And I've seen quite a few people have like either died from the rubber bullets, they've lost eyesight, they've a lot of the time the bullets have penetrated the skin. Let's just put it that way. And so I'm going to drop a petition in the description box there as well, so we can get the rubber bullets banned, because it's literally disgusting, that whole thing. But like I say, they're literally doing this on peaceful protesters, and like I say, the media are only showing the riot side of everything. The ones where they've been burning down certain things, tearing down like different monuments and stuff like that. And I know it's a hard discussion at the fact that, yes, hurting businesses, certain businesses by setting fire to their places and stuff like that isn't the best thing to do. But when you've been like oppressed for years and years and years, and you need your voice to be heard, you need someone to hear you, you need someone to respect you, a lot of the time it does come down to violence, because violence is such a powerful thing. Violence is literally everywhere. Every person's probably used it at least once in their lives. Yeah, it's such a powerful thing, and politicians use it, the government uses it, anyone that wants power tends to use violence. And I think the fact that it's come down to the protesters having to do these riots, having to be violent, just shows you kind of how desperate they are to have this equality, to be equal with everyone else, to live a normal life, to not have to worry about going outside and thinking, am I going to get attacked today? Um, that's a big thing, and it's like I say, it's a very hard discussion to have, but it needs to happen. A lot of things need to happen, and a lot of things that people can do is they can sign petitions, you can donate, you can educate people, you can spread the word of everything, you can call out family members and friends that are being racist. You can call these people out, and if they backfire at you, if they try and attack you, then get rid of them would be my like suggestion. You don't need these negative, disgusting opinions in your life. You really don't need them. But there is so much more you can do. You can attend these Black Lives Matter marches. You can attend these like vigils and stuff like that to help to just spread the awareness of what's happening in the world. Not everything is what it seems. There is a lot of injustice in the world, unfortunately, and I think a great start is to support the Black Lives Matter movement, is to support them and to gain equality for every person out there. So as I keep saying, sign petitions, donate, do what you can. I cannot stress this enough how important it is. And like I say, all lives can't matter until Black Lives Matter. It's so important that people understand and realize this, because there unfortunately is people out there that do think that do have racist opinions, that do have racist views, and it's very, very unfortunate. I have come from a racist background myself. There is a few people in that I'm either in the past I've been friends with or related to in the past, and they have been racist, so I got brought up in that racist thing. But then being surrounded by people that weren't racist, that they pulled me aside and they said this is literally not okay. But at the time I didn't understand until I educated myself. And I think that's a big thing that people need to do, is educate themselves on topics, on certain matters. And that's what I want to do with this video, is educate people and get them to realize that, like I say, all lives can't matter until Black Lives Matter. If you go around and you say all lives matter, then, for example, you're kind of insinuating something like this scenario. So say your child has an illness, and say your child has cancer. This child has a specific cancer. Say they have like a brain tumor, and then some random person comes up to you while you're trying to spread awareness of this cancer. Someone comes up to you and says, "Well, all cancers matter." That's not what you're trying to do. You're trying to spread awareness about this one specific thing, so then that people can understand what this one thing is. And I think that's what people need to realize. That's what Black Lives Matter is doing. They're spreading awareness of what difficulties and what stuff they've had to face in the past and everything like that. And unfortunately, it still happens today. It's happened for centuries. And we need to learn. We need to educate ourselves, and we need to get better. We need to understand that this isn't right. This isn't okay. We need to become equal. We need to be one. And I think one big thing is to get rid of the people that are currently in power. The people that we have in power are very racist, are very homophobic, are very offensive people. They're for one specific type of group, and they need to stop. So Donald Trump is very much for his white people. Boris Johnson, who's very much for his rich white people. And it's a very unfortunate thing because there is people from all types of groups that are suffering because of this. But we need a change. We need to do something about this. We need to realize that what's happening right now is not okay. I understand that right now we're going through a huge pandemic. Which is why I'm saying if you can't go out and do these protests, if you can't go out and do a peaceful thing, sign these petitions, donate what you can. That's what I've been doing. After being cooped up in my room since March, I've been signing petitions. I've been spreading awareness on my social media pages. I've been doing what I can. And that's what I'm asking, aiding for everyone viewing this to do, to spread awareness, to realize that's what's happening in the world right now is not okay. To realize that we do need to educate people, but then people also need to educate themselves. We shouldn't, what we should do is, if someone's been like racist in the past, they've apologized for it profusely and they've changed their actions, they've changed their ways, accept them. And I think that's one big thing that needs to happen as well. If they've changed their ways, if they're very now up for certain things, if they advocate for certain things as well, then that needs to happen as well. The more people that we can get to advocate for equality, the more people that we can get to advocate for everyone being an equal person, the better. I think is extremely important. And there is so many things out there that do need changing. I can go, as a child, I could go to the cinema and I could see a white superhero and relate to it. I personally don't think or feel like anyone else could relate to that. No person of any other race but white could see that. No other person could relate to that but a white person. And we are so lucky of the world that we live in. We can do anything that we want. We are so lucky. And it's unfortunate that we're classed as the upper like people and anyone else is classed as a minority. And that needs to change. There is a lot of things that need to change. And I think starting by educating yourself, educating the people around you, calling out the people around you. Don't be afraid to call out family members if they're being racist. Don't be afraid to call out friends if they're being racist. Don't be afraid to call out any person around you that's being racist, because the more you do, the better it is for everyone around us. We literally just want equality. We literally just want people to be the same. And that's all that the Black Lives Matter movement is wanting. We want justice for people that have unfortunately been killed because of their race, because of their colour. And it's very unfortunate. And I hope that this video has educated people. I hope that people understand what I'm trying to do, understand where I'm coming from. I will post in the description, I will post the links where I've got my information from. I will post links to petitions, and if there's any other, I'm sure there's thousands of petitions out there, and I aid people to comment them, to get people to sign them, so that we can get justice for people like George Floyd and Breonna Taylor that still don't have justice. And I really hope this video has educated you, and thank you for watching, and please share this so more people can learn, educate themselves and understand. Thank you.